Hi there, this is Brett Scheuer from 401k Kid, here once again to inspire and encourage parents to start teaching their children and their teens some real-world money management skills. We are this week in the middle of a webinar series that we're delivering to some parents, and we had a Q&A session this week with one of those parents. The series is called What Happens After Share, Save, Spend. A lot of you might be familiar with the money management skill that we use with little kids called Share, Save, Spend. It's not our term, it's out in the industry, but it's a great program that teaches kids about putting money into savings and putting money into charity first, and then using what's left over and spending that. It works really well for teaching kids some of that financial discipline. But there's the big question, what happens next? What happens after, say, age 10 or 11? When kids are ready for a lot more financial management and take on more responsibility, that spend category suddenly looks awfully vague. What do you do with it? So that's what we're talking about. One of the participants in the class had a bunch of questions that I thought were really great, very insightful questions, and I wanted to talk some more about these with all of you because it might apply to some of you as well. She's got two sons, ages 14 and 17, who haven't yet begun to go down the road to learning some financial discipline. The oldest has a job sometimes. He's still in high school, so you manage your job and your activities and things. That wasn't her problem. The problem was when he has a job, he tends to blow all of his money. He just spends it all. It's direct deposited into his checking account, and then he's got a debit card that he uses, and he just tends to spend it. He's spending it on clothing, so he's not blowing his budget, but he's not saving it. Neither of the kids, she said, are on any kind of meaningful allowance. So her questions were, how do I get started? What's the first step? If I'm going to give them an allowance, what kind of categories am I going to put in their allowance? And after I answer that question, how much am I going to put into those categories for them to manage? As you may know, our core money management skill, what we use as the tool for teaching kids how to manage money, is the allowance, and it's a big allowance. We're giving them money for them to manage instead of us spending it. It's not costing us anymore. It's just money that we would have spent on them. We're allowing them to manage it instead. But you have to do it in baby steps. You just can't give a 13-year-old $180 at the beginning of the month and say, go, manage this. So you start one category at a time. So her questions in order. She said, how do I get started? This is a really easy one. The answer is, well, just get started. You'll never figure everything out before you start, and it's not important that you figure everything out before you start. Just take the first step. That's what's important. Make a guess, and you can adjust later. You don't have to be perfect, and you can tell your kid, this isn't going to be perfect right away. The important thing is you're going to be having conversations with them. She said, what categories to use? Well, for the oldest son, he's into clothes, so this would be an easy one. Looking at what he's spending right now, which she honestly didn't know exactly how much he was spending right now on clothes, but looking at how much on average she might be giving him month to month, could be $60, could be $80. So you start out at the beginning of the month and you give him $60 and explain to him, this is now where you're going to get money this month for clothes. And next month you'll get another $60 for clothes. But during the middle of the month, you can't say, hey, I need a pair of jeans. Can I have $40? The answer is going to be no. We're giving you money at the beginning of the month. Now, you don't have to get the amount right at the beginning. And parents don't get hung up on this, that everything has to be perfect. You're not going to get the amount right at the very beginning. No one ever does. But at the end of the month, you get to have the conversation then. You sit down with your son and say, well, how did the month go? What did you buy? We show you how to use a checkbook register or using some online tools to track expenses. The kid's going to be doing all this work. And the kid will bring that and say, well, here's what I did, and I bought this and this, but then I ran out of money. I didn't have enough. Well, now you're having a conversation. And you're thinking about next month, do we want to increase the allowance and give him some more flexibility? Or maybe he didn't spend money wisely during the month, and we can talk about how he can stretch his dollars a little bit further. But it's taken out of the heat of the moment where it's, Mom, I need $20. That just doesn't happen anymore. That's what we're trying to avoid. It makes sense to just get started. Clock's running out on that 17-year-old. The 14-year-old should get started at the same time. They're going to be at different phases. They're probably going to have different allowance amounts, but that's fine. They're going to learn from each other, and the parents are going to learn more working from them. The conversations could be real. The conversations are going to take place at the dinner table, and now both sons are involved at the same time, and everyone's being open and talking about money. There's an underlying theme here, and there's something that's been kind of bubbling up as I'm talking to more parents. And that word that I want to throw out here is forgiveness. As a parent, it's important to know you're not perfect, and that's okay. I'm not perfect, and that's okay. We have to be willing to forgive ourselves of those imperfections and know that we're parents and we're doing the best we can with what we have. We can have honest discussions with our kids, and maybe they can help us learn. Sometimes kids are the best ones to come up with a creative solution to get out of a sticky problem. The worst thing a parent can do is not make a mistake. It's to do nothing at all and delay these learning opportunities. Kids are depending on us to help them to figure this stuff out. And if you're waiting until they're 18 and pushing them out, you've missed a lot of good years. So take the first step. Start down this path. Start working with your teen on building some of these real-world money skills. And remember, you're not alone in this. You've got a whole community behind you. You've got us here at 401kkid.com. You can also find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/401kkid. Join in this conversation. We are on a mission to help you teach your kids some real-world money skills, and we know you can do it. So come on, you can do this.